The power of disappearing. The more you expose your life to people, the harder it becomes to build something truly meaningful. Most people don't understand this. They post every plan, share every idea, and talk about every small step. But when everything is visible, nothing feels powerful. Real progress is usually quiet. Real growth is often invisible. If you truly want to achieve something big, there may come a time when you need to step away. Not forever, just long enough to rebuild yourself without distraction. Sometimes the smartest move is to disconnect from noise, opinions, and constant attention. There was a time in my own journey when I felt stuck. I was working hard, but nothing seemed to change. The real shift happened when I stopped explaining myself. I stopped announcing my goals. I stopped trying to prove that I was improving. Instead, I quietly focused on becoming better. Here's the reality. People say they support success, but deep down, comparison is natural, and comparison often creates jealousy. Humans instinctively measure themselves against others, financially, socially, emotionally. When someone starts rising, it can make others uncomfortable. That's why silence becomes your advantage. When you disappear for a while, something powerful happens. No one knows what you are building. No one gives feedback. No one criticizes. No one applauds. It's just you, alone, upgrading yourself day and night. You become like a shadow, calm, focused, consistent. While the world assumes you are doing nothing, you are preparing your next version. There's a complete transformation process. First, reduce your visibility. Second, work silently, like a shadow. Finally, return stronger than before. Miss even one step, and your growth remains incomplete. But disappearing doesn't start with deleting social media. It starts with controlling your words. Your words can trick your mind. When you talk too much about your goals, your brain feels temporary satisfaction, as if progress has already been made, but nothing has actually changed. So from today, speak less. If someone asks, "What are you planning?" just say, "Nothing special, still figuring things out." Keep your important details private. Stop sharing every opinion. Become calm. Become mysterious. Let people wonder. Because the moment you stop explaining and start executing, something inside you shifts. And here's the uncomfortable truth most people ignore. The version of you that talks the most is usually the version that achieves the least. So ask yourself, are you ready to become someone people can't read, can't predict, and can't stop once you return? Reprogramming your mind. Disappearing from the world is not the hardest part. Disappearing from the need for attention is. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they constantly think about what others are thinking about them. They imagine people watching, judging, noticing every move. But here's the truth. Almost no one is thinking about you as much as you think they are. Everyone is busy fighting their own problems. There is something called the spotlight effect. It's a mental illusion where you believe all eyes are on you. You think people are analyzing your actions. You think they notice your mistakes. But in reality, most people are too focused on themselves to care that deeply. Yet this illusion controls your behavior. You hesitate to start. You hesitate to change. You hesitate to take bold action. Why? Because somewhere in your mind, you're trying to impress someone, or prove something, or avoid criticism. And most of the time, that pressure makes you weak. If you want to truly disappear and rebuild, you must reprogram your mind. First, stop seeking validation. Your growth does not need an audience. Your progress does not need applause, and your goals do not need approval. Second,
Create a new internal identity. Instead of being the person who wants attention, become the person who values self-respect more than recognition. Become someone who prioritizes personal growth over public image. This does not mean becoming selfish. It means understanding that your happiness, your discipline, your goals matter. Sometimes this will require distance. You may need to reduce contact with people who distract you. You may need to stop conversations that waste your energy. You may need to let go of certain connections. That will not be easy. Humans are wired to share information. Since ancient times, survival depended on communication. That's why staying silent feels uncomfortable. That's why not explaining yourself feels strange. But growth demands discomfort. You cannot become powerful while constantly reacting to others. You must reduce how much control people have over your mood, your thoughts, and your decisions. Stop being someone else's puppet. Start becoming the main character in your own life. Because when you stop caring about how you look and start caring about who you are becoming, your power begins to return. And this is where things get even harder. Because once you detach from attention, you must face something much more painful, the silent grind that no one sees, no one praises, and no one understands. Are you ready to work in the dark without knowing when the light will come?
The return of your strongest version. Hard work without a clear target is just wasted energy. If you truly want to transform, you must decide exactly what you are building. What does success look like for you? Is it a degree? An entrance exam? A business? Better health? Financial freedom? A stronger mindset? Be specific. Vague goals create vague results. Clear targets create focused action. Write your goal down. Make it real. Place it somewhere only you can see. Let it remind you every day why you chose to disappear in the first place. But writing it down is not enough. Your entire routine must revolve around that target. Your daily schedule, your habits, your energy, everything must align with the version of you that you are trying to create. If you want to become unstoppable, your time must reflect it. Imagine two fighters. One trains 14 hours a day, rests properly, and spends the remaining time recovering and studying. The other trains 8 hours and spends the rest scrolling, relaxing, and distracting himself. If they face each other, who wins? The answer is obvious. Input decides output. The person who sacrifices comfort for discipline will always outperform the one who balances ambition with distraction. This does not mean you must suffer endlessly. It means you must prioritize correctly. Cut unnecessary social media, reduce mindless entertainment, limit distractions. Every hour wasted is a vote for the old version of you. And then, one day, something shifts. You look in the mirror and realize you are no longer the same person. You are mentally sharper, physically stronger, financially wiser, emotionally calmer. And when you finally return to the world, people notice, not because you told them, but because your presence speaks. The most powerful part? When you transform deeply, you stop craving attention. You stop needing validation. You stop explaining yourself. You move differently. You think differently. You operate differently. And strangely, once you reach this stage, you realize your old goals were small. You start aiming higher. You push further. Growth becomes a lifestyle, not a phase. You become a mystery, not because you hide, but because your depth cannot be easily understood. And now, ask yourself honestly, are you ready to disappear long enough to meet the version of you that even you
have never seen before.
The silent grind. Now comes the part most people avoid. Working in silence sounds powerful in theory, but in reality, it is uncomfortable, exhausting, and lonely. When you truly disappear and focus on yourself, there will be no applause. No one will see your early mornings. No one will know about your late nights. No one will notice how many times you failed. And you will fail. You will feel tired. You will doubt yourself. You will question whether it's worth it. This is where most people return to noise. They go back to posting, back to talking, back to explaining, because silence feels heavy. But growth lives inside that silence. You must hide your struggle, not because struggle is shameful, but because it is sacred. Your pain, your effort, your sweat, your setbacks, they are part of your private process. People do not respect effort, they respect results. Think about it. When someone becomes successful, the world talks about their victory. Very few talk about the 100 failures that came before it. History remembers outcomes. This doesn't mean your failures are useless. It means they are stepping stones, but they are stepping stones you walk on alone. Keep your plans close to your chest, like a treasure map no one else can read. Work on them quietly, improve quietly, build quietly, and don't celebrate small progress publicly. Making a little money is not success. Improving slightly is not transformation. Becoming a bit better is not the finish line. Many people upgrade from average to slightly above average and start acting like they have won. That is where growth stops. You deserve more than average. Call it ghost mode, call it monk mode, call it deep focus mode. Whatever name you give it, understand this: it will test you. You will be mentally tired, physically drained, sometimes emotionally overwhelmed. There may be days when you feel like quitting, but you don't need sympathy. You don't need pity. You don't need people to feel sorry for you. You need results. Remember this: sometimes one big success is enough to silence 100 past failures. The world does not need to know how hard you are trying. It will eventually see what you have built. But before that moment arrives, you must choose something very important, because working hard without direction is just exhaustion. And now the real question begins. What exactly are you building? And is it powerful enough to change your life?
If you like the video, do like, share, and subscribe.